Wednesday, everyone. So this is crazy. On Monday, Attorney General Merrick Garland announced the FBI would investigate a disturbing spike in harassment, intimidation, and threats of violence against school administrators, board members, teachers, and staff. A disturbing spike. Are we talking about legitimate charges or Trey Gowdy's hair? In the memo, they decry threats of violence, but is it actual terroristic activities or parents trying to get to the bottom of a lousy education, which in the long run is more of a national threat than China, Russia, and Iran combined? But the school board and the law want you to think that parental concern is now a domestic terror threat. That's right, a mom yelling at school board members at a public meeting is the same as her donning an explosive vest and blowing up a school. Demanding quality schools is now like crashing a plane into the Pentagon. They've taken the most necessary debate one could have, how to teach your kids, and recast it as the perfect left-wing fantasy. Heroic educators battling a mob of pitchfork-wielding heathens, all wearing mom jeans and fanny packs. And those are just the dads. Garland published the memo right after the National School Board letter demanded help from the White House because our public schools and its education leaders are under immediate threat. First, can you imagine asking Joe Biden for help on anything other than how to use Metamucil? Did you not see the Kabul airport evacuation? Asking Joe for help is like asking Ted Bundy for a ride home.
Damn.
It was either that or Ted Kennedy. I couldn't make up my mind.
You made a good choice.
Thank you. Now, there may be unsavory incidents, but when it comes to getting between a dad and his kid who you've labeled racist because of his race, that can happen. Teachers and parents will get into shouting matches, which isn't good, but it's understandable. Given the insane teachers' unions, the brainwash they call education, and the utter disregard for difference of opinion, they don't care if our schools are dead last. They only care about preventing you from having a choice of schools or a say in the matter, which could be why the NSBA suggested that these acts of malice could be the equivalent to domestic terrorism. Domestic terror is now more watered down than Cat's court-ordered urine sample. But the school board actually learned something, that if you claim something is domestic terror, it's in the eye of the beholder. And no one can tell you that you weren't terrorized. So you can use it on anyone, except, of course, rioters or looters, just angry parents. And just you wait, that harmless coworker of yours will be next.
Are you wearing body spray?
Yeah, dog, it's Mountain Glacier Blast. Ladies love it.
Hello, Department of Homeland Security? Yes, thank you.
Look, it's $3 at Macy's and CVS. Available anywhere fine fragrances are sold.
All you have to do is weaponize the potential for a threat, and you can silence anything through fear. Maybe I can accuse my wife of being an immediate threat when I'm trying to watch the game. And by game, I mean The Masked Singer. Think about it. I don't watch games. Parents were upset with mask mandates being imposed on their kids, not to mention critical race theory. In a normal world, that would be considered both physical and mental abuse. But this is a Joe Biden world, and it's considered good instruction. So rather than engage, the other side smeared. The left hates open debate almost as much as they love open borders. They hate legitimate protests as much as they love riots. And now they have the law to intimidate you into silence. I wonder what the angry white male has to say.
I was tired of being ignored by teachers and school administrators. That's why I started homeschooling. Don't forget to indent at the beginning of a paragraph.
I know.
Now I can be ignored in the privacy of my own home.
I hope that's his kid. Or someone should call the cops. I wonder what the angry black male has to say.
All right, back after this. Thanks for listening to Tyrus and Tim. What, Gutfeld? Can't you see I'm working here? Fine, ask your question. What? The teachers' union is referring to parents as domestic terrorists because they have a difference of opinion. Yeah, that works. That's a lot like me trying to interview.
Hi, there's this man who's asking me a lot of questions, and I'm very concerned. Can you make sure my kids are okay? I'm really concerned that they're not in school right now. Please help me.
So now the FBI will split their time between tracking down men in Viking hats and irate parents who were rude to teachers. As for the legitimate daily threats we all get from al-Qaeda, we'll get to them. Right after we raid the home of this mouthy soccer mom at dawn and arrest her in front of her kids because she had her own thoughts about how her kids should be educated. So while they target parents, you can still follow a woman into a bathroom and film her, and the president will defend it. Not only will he defend it, he'll probably ask what kind of shampoo she uses. You can brutalize anyone or steal anything in New York and be back on the streets in hours. You could torch businesses and permanently ruin cities like Minneapolis and never see jail time. But the FBI needs to cuff a mom because she raised her voice to a transitioning social studies teacher with a rainbow tattoo on her neck. Yes, Antifa is just an idea, but mom and dad are deadly. That's the world we live in, where your speech is redefined as violence and their violence is redefined as justice. Well done, Joe. You really are a unifier, because we all think you're nuts. Let's welcome tonight's guest. He's so patriotic. Independence Day celebrates him. Veteran in Florida GOP congressional candidate Corey Mills. If knowledge is power, her brain could blow a fuse. Fox Business correspondent Susan Lee. She's more demanding than a ransom note. Fox News contributor Kat Tiff. That sound you hear means he's doing jumping jacks or there's a thunderstorm approaching. My massive sidekick in the NWA World Television Champion, Tyrus. Susan, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great, thanks.
Love the khakis.
Oh, jeez. This is, for Halloween, I'm going as Tucker Carlson. So if you can see, I've got, this is the Tucker Carlson look.
That was good.
Yeah. I'm not, you're gonna get me in so much trouble. You know, nobody sees me from the waist down, so I could get away with wearing the khakis. My wife wouldn't know. Now she knows.
Really? We see you from the waist down every day.
No, we have that cropped out. Speaking of cropped out, I don't even know where that means.
I don't know where this is going.
I could actually say, okay, I could actually paralyze this whole conversation by saying, you making a comment about my clothes kind of threatens me, right? It's kind of a threat to me because you're making me.
Terrorism?
It might be terrorism. I
Domestic.
think you might have terrorized me, Susan.
Okay.
Yeah.
You can file a complaint with HR if you like.
You know what?
Look, I think it's crazy,
No,
don't you
Greg,
think?
write him a scathing email.
Yes, a scathing email. It's too late. You're done.
All right. But I just think it's crazy.
You're going to be on CNBC before you know it.
I have no idea what that would be like. But I think it's crazy the school boards have turned into an episode of Squid Game, which you should watch. Have you watched? You know what I'm talking
I'm on
about.
it, I'm on it, though.
But you were saying it correctly, that there is a lot more time to be spent, say, on fighting violent crime, for instance. Did you know that murders went up 30% last year?
Yeah.
30%. That is the most that we've seen since 1960. How about, protecting women that are being shoved in subways?
Exactly. Except for Kat. No, I'm kidding.
Thank you. That's the sweetest thing you've ever said.
I know. Corey, you know what kills me is that all the stuff that the media and Democrats were accusing Trump of potentially doing, they're actually doing. This is something
They're not even trying to hide it.
No, they're not hiding it. It's amazing. They're paralyzed. They're actually going after law-abiding citizens, so they're no longer part of the dialogue.
100%. And look, he actually said this in the very beginning. He says, look, they're not after me. They're after you. I'm just in the way.
Yeah.
And what is actually proving to be true is that now, if you disagree with anything that the U.S. government says, they can just label you as a domestic terror and utilize this blanket cover, and therefore the FBI just rushes in. Here's what I would like to see. If they would have taken half of that consideration into the Taliban, Haqqani network, and everyone else who is building themselves up in Afghanistan and focus their attention there as opposed to on our own American citizens, we'd probably be in a lot better position overall. But instead, they just want to basically utilize the cancel culture to extend itself out into investigations and then arrest people who just disagree with anything that they have to say.
Yeah, and they completely they could have gone after maybe a Olympic gym coach who raped and molested all of these athletes. All right, Tyrus. Parents should have some modicum, is that how you say it? Modicum of politeness when talking to teachers, but
What?
I don't know. I don't have kids.
No,
you're supposed to cut me off when I make no sense.
Yellow socks and khakis. You nailed it, bro. What cracks me up is I was looking online today to try to find how many buildings the parents burned down or stores they robbed, or people they punched out or left dead, bleeding in the street. And I can't really seem to find a whole lot on these domestic terrorists, other than they all uniformly go in a building, wait their turn to get in front of a microphone, and then complain until their time is up. So,
yes.
Where are we living? That word used to mean something. Mm-hmm. And it was the last administration, literally anyone who said, oh, hey, that's President Trump. He was a domestic terrorist. Mm-hmm. So now because he's not on Twitter anymore, they have turned it on the people. But they are leaving out who's instigating this.
Yeah.
Who's instigating? Who's the one making comments like, oh, they're just mad their guy lost? Mm-hmm. Who said that? That was someone in the DOJ. That was supposed to be someone who was supposed to be helping. Right. So the parents know that they're going into a room with closed ears and closed minds to begin with. So forgive them if they get upset over them fighting and arguing over their most precious commodity, their children, which used to be our most precious commodity in this country.
Right.
And now it is, if you don't see the way we are, there's something wrong with you. Mm-hmm. When this happened in the 60s, it was the Klan. When this happened, before that, it was Jim Crow, and before that, it was the Democrats. It always seems to end up being the Democrats. Mm-hmm. They think they know what's best for you without ever bothering to talk to you, and that's a crime. It's terrible that we're going through that right now. So.
Yeah, it is, and it's also amazing that they need to coerce you into believing their ideas.
You can't do anything without us, especially you minorities.
But they need to.
You can't do nothing unless we run it.
They're hijacking the education. I mean, the whole point is that they don't like the fact that inundation of CRT in our education is being challenged.
Yeah,
and the whole point, it's critical race theory, which means it's a critical idea open for discussion, not critical race facts.
Yeah. Kat, I think, theoretically with this categorization of terror, this show.
Yes.
This show is an act of domestic terrorism.
Absolutely true.
Against Don Lemon and Brian Williams, because we were just crushing them in the ratings.
Well, I was going to say, I don't have kids, but if I did, I would be yelling all the time. I mean, I am already kind of on the edge as it is.
Yes.
And the good news is, I get to be on a talk show where I say how I feel.
Right, exactly.
They don't. And also, it's mind-blowing to think about how truly, truly insane it is that, these parents want to have a say in their child's education. They want to have a say in where their kids spend, a third of their day for, 5 days a week, for 9 months out of the year, for years of their life, at a location that their tax dollars also pay for. That is not only not terrorism, that's about as good of an example of a basic fundamental right as you can get.
Yeah. Well said.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.